him for a gentleman. Fear crawled up her spine. Why would a gentleman be watching a beggar woman? Perhaps he was not as gentlemanly as he appeared. Would he steal the coins, take her mother's pearls? She wouldn't let him. She pushed to her feet and hurried down the street, fighting the urge to run. She glanced over her shoulder. He followed on the opposite side of the street. She quickened pace. The man suddenly vanished from view as a crowd of people swept past him. She stopped beside a row of coaches parked along the street close by and scanned the crowd. Miss Westfall. She started to turn toward that voice when strong fingers seized her arm. Her shoulder collided with a hard chest. She cried out. The door of the nearest coach opened and he pulled her inside. She clawed at the masculine arm that held her. "Do not scream, Miss Westfall. You are in no danger." Daphne twisted free of his hold and lunged for the door. He yanked her onto the seat opposite him. "Miss Westfall, please. I am attempting to render aid." She stilled at his urgency. He was the too handsome man she had glimpsed across the street. How had he gotten behind her so quickly? "Render aid," she demanded, hating how frightened she sounded. "Kidnapping is not the kind of aid I require." "That's fortunate, for it's not the aid I'm offering." He released her arm and leaned back against the cushion. "My name is Sir Anthony Heathcote. Some call me the Lord of Arrangements." "The Lord of Arrangements?" She had never heard of him. "What does this have to do with me?" He smiled gently. "Everything." She studied him. His expression lacked pity or lust. Perhaps his aid was nothing more than letting her rest inside a warm coach, away from the icy winds. "I know about your father," Anthony said. Daphne tensed. He wasn't the first man to seek vengeance on her because of her father. "Easy, lass." He lifted a hand. "I've no desire to harm you. Allow me to speak. Afterwards, if you don't wish for my help, I will allow you to return to your position on the street with an extra few pounds for your trouble." Shame heated her face, and she glanced away. Never in her life had she believed she would be sitting in a coach with a man discussing her life as a beggar. She raised her chin and met his gaze. No threatening shadow darkened his eyes. "Very well. Speak your piece." "I am aware of your father's crimes," he said. "Counterfeiting is a serious offense. He's lucky they didn't send him to the gallows." Daphne tried to swallow the sudden lump in her throat. "I also know that his conviction resulted in his property being used to repay his victims, at least those who were members of the peerage." Another painful gulp. She couldn't speak. That had been the worst indignity. Her father had betrayed friends in society, tainting them with his dishonor. She had not been allowed to hear the more gruesome details from her father's solicitor, but she had heard whispers that one man had shot himself after being associated with the scandal. "I have never believed the sins of the father should pass to his children," he said. "It is unjust that you should suffer for his crimes. I wish to help you." "How can you?" she asked, feeling strangely numb. "Have you noticed how the temps always favors a good marriage? The right union can erase even the worst sins from public memory." He smiled. "Perhaps even for someone shadowed by scandal." Shadowed by scandal. The man had a way with words. But marriage, no sane man would marry her. Even the shabbiest modistes had refused to employ her as a simple seamstress because her family name was so blackened. "But I have no prospects, no connections, no gentleman whatever." Anthony's soft chuckle stunned her into silence. "No need to fret, Miss Westfall. I am quite convinced I can find half a dozen men who would consider it a privilege to take you as a wife. If you are agreeable, that is." "Agreeable?" she repeated. Perhaps it was warmer in the coach than she'd realized, for her head began to swim. "A marriage auction," he said. "Polite society doesn't discuss this form of courtship, but the general arrangement is this. You meet the interested gentleman, then they bid for your hand." "Bid?" The word escaped her in a frightened squeak. Anthony nodded. "The money they bid will be placed in a secure trust for your use. Contracts are signed, and a male trustee of your choosing is appointed to ensure your husband honors the terms. This provides you with the money to live comfortably. Of course, one hopes your new husband will offer you even more as his wife." It sounded mad, but Daphne bit her